Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today as we celebrate Women's History Month, and today especially International Women's Day. We have a very special program. I'm so excited, and I want to thank you for joining us because I know you have so much to do throughout your day, and for stopping in and just having a cafecito with us and really getting to know these incredible women that I've gotten a chance to talk to and hear from. Their names, I've called them the three Marvel leaders because they are admired for so many qualities, including their fortitude, their ability to build others up. I mean, just in our conversations, they have a passion, and that passion is to create high touch experiences for the people that they work with, their staff, as well as all of the consumers, the people that they work with and they serve. So my name is Teresa Palacios Smith, and I'm Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer for HomeServices of America. And I get a chance every time on this little show here, okay, is Women Who Lead, to have un cafecito, which is the Latino way of celebrating and getting together and breaking bread together to learn about what was the journey, the leadership journey for these incredible Marvel leaders. So let's get started. With me today, I have Cathy Larmore. I'm going to start with Cathy. And Cathy is the Senior Vice President of Support for Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices Carolina's Realty family of companies, and there's several that are under that the Berkshire Hathaway Carolinas umbrella. She has more than 800 sales associates, along with 14 offices across North Carolina's 3 major markets. She has over 26 years of experience in the real estate industry, and today she oversees HR, marketing, relocation, business development, training, education. The list goes on. Cathy was recognized, I thought this was very special, as the Volunteer of the Year for the Second Harvest Food Bank of Northwest Carolina in 2018. Cathy, that's something to be admired, to be recognized as somebody that does give back to the community. And most recently, in 2023, as Triad's Business Journal's Outstanding Women in Business. So congratulations, Cathy, and welcome to the show. I'm excited to have you. Alma Cecilia Ramirez. Alma is the co-owner and broker of Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices Colonial Homes San Miguel in Mexico. She knew from a young age that she wanted to chart a path in real estate, and in 1995 she founded the real estate firm, and in 2020 she and her partner chose to become part of the Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices brand. Alma is an award-winning broker who is invested in a community. She holds the national certification by Conocer in Guanajuato State. That's hard to say. So glad I got it out. She has served in numerous industry roles in organizations, including AMPI, which is the Mexican Association of Professional Realtors, and also the Real Estate International Congress. Bienvenida, Alma. So happy to have you on the show. And claro que sí. And Teresa Walsh. And Teresa is president of SellNewHomes.com. She is recognized throughout the industry as a leading expert and innovator in all aspects of real estate construction, remodeling, new home sales, real estate marketing, and also in business development. And she has over 30 years of experience as an educator and a consultant. And I really found it so interesting. She and Dennis, her husband, co-authored the Certified New Home Specialist and Residential Construction Certified courses, as well as the book Real Estate's Best Kept Secret. She also wrote another book, which I thought was really interesting for children. But I'm so excited to see all of you. Welcome, Teresa, and welcome to the show. Let's get started because I'm so interested in learning about your backgrounds. And the first question I always ask every single one is, how did you get in this business? Because it's such a great business to be in. And, you know, I'm always interested also in your role, because each one of you has a little bit of a unique role. So I'm going to start with you, Cathy, on how you got started in the business and your role as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Teresa, for having me. I'm glad to be with Teresa and Alma as well. So I got started the old-fashioned way. Remember the newspaper when you used to get the classified ads, like on a Sunday, and you would circle the ads and figure out where you wanted to work next? That's what I did. I answered an ad, and all it said was local real estate firm looking for a referral coordinator. That's all it said. So I had no idea what a referral coordinator was, and I had no idea what who the firm was. And so I went to Kinko's. Y'all remember Kinko's? And I had my super letterhead, like my resume on my letterhead, and I mailed it off. And it was Prudential at the time. And I interviewed and started within a couple of weeks. And so that's how I got started in the business. And the rest is history. I've stayed here for my whole career. So I've been very fortunate.
And for those who don't know, a referral coordinator is a stepping stone, obviously, to what you did, but it's kind of in the relocation department. Was that
Yes.
part of the Relo team? And you actually take all the referrals and do all the process, all of the great work that goes into when individuals send out referrals or get incoming referrals into the market. So, I started in relocation, so it's exciting to see that Cathy also started in that background. And there's a lot of leaders, Cathy, that I've realized have started from the Relo departments and moved up into big positions, even like our own Mary Lee Blaylock started in the Relo department. Teresa, I'm going to go with you next. Tell me a little bit about your background and in such a male-centric industry, new construction. How'd you get started there?
Exactly. And thank you, Teresa. I'm so proud to be amongst these fabulous ladies here. So thank you so much. 41 years ago, I got my license, and 41 years, I know, got into flooring business with my brother. And then we were doing all new construction. So we were working with all the home builders, which is how I met Dennis. So when I met Den, I really didn't care if we did the flooring. I really just knew I was going to marry him the second. Swear to God. So before I was leaving the office, I had some blueprints under my arm. We're going to bid on the projects. And I said, gosh, I just can't leave. So I turned around and look at him. I said, all right, okay, we'll go to lunch. You don't have to hound me. And he starts cracking up. He says, call me when it rains, because he was building a house for himself. So from that point on, he recognized there was a huge need that a lot of real estate professionals did not understand new construction or how to work with builders. So that's why we developed the Certified New Home Specialist and Residential Construction Certified courses. And here we are 35 plus years later. I work with my business partner and my best friend, and we're having a great time. So thanks, Teresa. That's how I got into business.
Well, I love it that it was love at first sight. And you definitely have created a niche in the industry and really helping agents understand the process. And you're even developing more. And we're going to talk about that in a few minutes, about the whole process. I know Alan Dalton is somebody we all know. And one of the things that he talks about is the process of real estate is not just a one transactional item. Is actually a lot about consulting, which is where you come in. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. But Alma, I love your background. I remember the day that you joined our brand, but tell me how you got started. You were passionate as a young child. How's that possible? What brought you to this real estate career?
Well, thank you, Teresa. For me, it's an honor for me to be in this panel and with all these amazing women. Happy International Women's Day. I got started in real estate in my early 20s, wanting to learn everything about the business and, using all my sales abilities. I opened my own company 27 years ago. And in year 2020, I joined Berkshire Hathaway.
Was that something that one thing that we learned, that it took you 4 years to get that process going because you wanted to be part of the Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices brand so badly, which is such a testament to what an exciting, franchise it is, and how dedicated you were to really become part of this luxury market.
Yes, you are correct. It was 4 years to be part of the family of Berkshire. And I am very proud to be the female broker and co-owner of the first Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices flagship in Mexico and Latin America.
Absolutely, a huge honor. And as we celebrate International Women's Day, which we talked about when we first got on this Facebook page, I did want to also find out from all of you, and this is also Women's History Month, is there one particular individual, person, woman that you admire or that has inspired you in the past? Alma, I'll go ahead and start with you since you kind of brought that up as well.
Yes, well, the leader who has inspired me all my life is Blanca, my wonderful mother, and hard-working, independent woman. She always motivates me to accomplish all my goals.
I love it. What did Blanca do? What was her background? Was she a stay-at-home mom? Was she, did she have a business herself?
She had a business. She opened a business here in San Miguel. This was in the 70s. She opened the first bar discotheque in all the state of Guanajuato with her brother. And she always, she was a very good example, always working, always honest. Well, what can I tell you? Is my mother. She's a beautiful person.
I love that. And one thing that people don't realize in the Latino culture is that we are all very entrepreneur driven. All of us at one point or another had, we were selling Avon jewelry, tamales, there's something that's always people are selling. It's very entrepreneurial, but that the fact that your mother started a discotheque back in the 70s, that was not heard of in our culture. So I really commend you. I can see why she's a role model for you, for sure, Alma. And you have definitely stepped into her role very beautifully.
It was the first discotheque in all the state of Guanajuato.
I love it. I love it.
It was very, very successful.
Very smart woman. Teresa, how about you?
I always use Jennifer Berman. I don't know if anybody knows Jennifer, but she's been in the real estate industry over 30 years. This girl is all about strength. She was diagnosed with cancer in her late 30s. Here's the deal with Jen. You don't see Jen, you hear Jen before she's in front of it. Okay. She is like a force to be reckoned with. And I'd seen her at a convention probably 20 some years ago. I'm like, hey, I haven't seen you for a few years. What's going on? She says, well, girl, let me tell you, last year I got flesh-eating disease in my leg. I got cancer in my back and I got hit by a Hummer. Other than that, I'm doing fabulous. That is Jennifer Berman. And she's continuing to battle cancer. It's been now, she's into her 20th year. And she never complains. She just is always a strength, always looking to do the next thing. So whenever anybody's complaining, anybody in my circle, I'm like, listen, I'm glad you're sharing with me, but let me tell you what Jennifer Berman's been dealing with. So she's just an incredible woman, and she's always just inspired strength in people. So that's who
I love. That positive
totally.
energy. You
Positive.
can hear it. And Cathy, how about you?
I also will say my mom. My mom has been a big inspiration to me and many others. She would say she's not a leader. So she's a very humble, kind, more quiet leader. She would not say that she has great leadership skills, even though she does. So if you're watching, Mom, you are a leader. But she has always been humble, kind, generous. She worked and raised us. So she set an example that you can do both. Because a lot of people have told me, you need to choose one or the other back when I was of that age. And so I feel like she demonstrated that you can do it. She also is a cancer survivor. Teresa, she had stage 4 cancer in 2015, and we almost lost her. And she fought as hard as anybody has ever fought, and she's still here with us today. So I'm very grateful for her.
Wow, that's beautiful. To your mom as well. I mean, that is amazing. And I think inspirational to have those women that really kind of inspire us. And also the fact that she worked and was able to manage, which is always hard, household, raising children and also working full time. So I know real estate, has really kind of what we've all tied in together, what we all do, and it's changing. It's really a tough time for some people. Some people really find it very difficult to operate because they came into the industry when it was not as challenging. Things were buzzing, real estate was fast, inventory was low, interest rates are rising, interest rates were low, so there was more opportunity to make big sales. And so one of the things that I know that we are constantly always doing is kind of reinventing ourselves, reinventing the role of what we need to be doing, but also, old school things, you go back to the processes that really work, that will always work. Teresa, I want to start off with you. Tell me a little bit, because you've done a unique nuance because of the fact that there are shifting pieces in our industry. Tell me about what you've changed, and I'm talking about the remodeling side. Let's talk about that real quick.
Thanks, Teresa. Yes, things have shifted. So that means we need to shift our business. So Dennis and I have always been very passionate about the remodeling world. Think about everything that has changed. I mean, people have been in the pandemic, they were in their home all these years, looking at everything they want to change in their home. So we're talking about not looking at our course as a training program, but being relevant, being there for your clients, past clients, future clients, and just talking about their needs. What's happening in your home right now? Are you looking at remodeling? Are you considering remodeling? And being in a position where we can tell them, is this a good investment? Should we do this? What's the home going to be worth after the remodeling? We need to know these things, because this is where things are going. If they can't buy new construction, they're going to go buy an existing home and they're going to remodel it. So we want them to think of us as the Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Forever agent. Think about us, about any of your home needs. So training has always, been training. This is all about looking at your business, shifting it, and looking at it very differently, because you can't do business the way you were doing it 2 years ago, because the market's not what it was 2 years ago, to your point. So that's what I'm super excited about.
I love it. And that's very exciting, and certainly a concept that we think is really where a realtor should be. Cathy, any ideas, that we can give our agents to help them, really strive and also do well in this market?
We talk to our agents all the time about going back to the basics, like you mentioned earlier. So don't overcomplicate it. Show up is one thing. I think getting back into the groove after COVID, being present in our offices is really important to engage with other agents and network and learn what's really happening in the market. And I think also just not listening to the media. All the general public is focused on what the media is saying about the housing market, which is not always accurate, especially in where we are or where you all are. So I think our agents have to be the knowledge and the power out there to spread the word of why it is a great time to list or a great time to buy. So it's going back to the basics. We are a ninja company, as you know, Teresa. So I think staying in flow with your client base and being active in the community and just showing your expertise every day, wherever you go.
Well, Gino said it best. Gino is our CEO at HomeServices America, and he always says business is business. And the process of buying a home is every day. It's an everyday occurrence, or selling a home, because things happen that are part of the circle of life. So, Alma, how about you? And I know you really have focused, and the opportunity for us as, realtors here in our market is to also send business to Miguel de Allende, which is a beautiful market. But what is it that you're doing to inspire yourself and other people within your company to really kind of stay the course in the real estate side?
My advice I give to everybody is to continue preparing, to continue learning, to do something different than the competition, and always listen to your client needs. Establish a strong relationship and win their trust. That's very important.
And one thing I noticed too, with what all of you have said is, and I keep pointing out to Alan Dalton, just because he just is such a guru in this business, that real estate is about also understanding where do you want to be 5 to 10 years from now. So really planning. Is a property ideal in Mexico for that retreat later down the line, and or 20 years from now, do you want to retire in an area that maybe will provide you with a better quality of life? So those are where all those connecting points are with us being consultants. So let's switch out to our roles right now and talk about your own leadership style, because I'm really interested in learning about, how you operate, how you are able to accomplish what you've accomplished for in your positions. And I know all of you kind of have been in male-centric roles, which I think can be sometimes difficult. How have you been able to kind of compete or also overcome, or any challenges that you've had? And I'm going to start with you, Teresa, because new construction is exactly that. I mean, it's still like less than 10%. I think it's 5% is the number of women that are really actually building new construction or in that process that are really part of the industry. So it's really kind of focused, strongly in that male side.
So true, Teresa. So true. And again, going back to many years ago when I was doing new homes and working in the flooring business, we were doing business with a celebrity in Cleveland. I won't disclose the name, but she was fabulous. She was all pro women and just an advocate. And her husband, not so much. Very condescending, very taking advantage of the fact that I was a female in this industry and as a subcontractor. So Dennis is the one who sat down with me, my husband, and said, listen, this is a pivotal time in your life. You are going to have to sit down and not allow him to speak with you this way. Don't give him permission. You have to make a stance, because growing up in a European background with Guido, my dad, Guido Rosati, are you kidding me? Dating life, not so good. Okay. And my mom from the Ukraine, women were not at the forefront the way we were raised. So it was a very interesting time in my life. And I finally stood up. And you know what? Once I stood up to him in a very respectful way, he actually respected me back. Okay. Because people will treat you the way you allow them to treat you. So you just have to set the tone, what you're willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept. So you're absolutely right, Teresa. Not easy in that world with the builder.
Oh my God, I love that. I really do. That's great that you were able to say, hey, I know what I'm doing, so trust me, you've hired me for a reason. Let me help you. Cathy, how about you?
I feel very fortunate because I've been here for almost 27 years. And, this is predominantly a female industry, real estate is. So I have worked for females. I have worked for males. And I'll give a shout out to Robert Helms, who founded this company, and to Tommy Camp, our president and CEO, who have afforded me and others like me opportunities every step of the way. I've never felt where I have been suppressed or anything. I think our relationships are built on mutual respect and integrity. And so I'm just very fortunate.
That's great. I love that. How about you, Alma? Because it's machismo. It's like Latinos for gender.
Yes, my experience was not really male-centric. It was more age-centric, because I started the business very young. So that was hard. But, I learned to become a strong leader, and just by trusting myself.
I love that. That's the advice that I think everyone should have, right? Trust yourself, be strong, and also represent, right? Has any of you ever felt, that you've had that imposter syndrome? Oh, I've made it. Now I, feel like, they're going to discover me.
Okay. Hands are cold. My hands.
How about you, Teresa?
Okay, so for me, yet again, it was a great experience where I didn't believe in what we were selling, because we were very new. Nobody knew who we were. And we went to Pittsburgh to meet with a company. And this was also a great lesson for me to learn about negotiation, because my negotiation, the way I was taught, is lower your price, you'll get the deal. So there we were with a broker, and he's willing to guarantee us 100 people if we honor the same price we offered to another company. And I'm doing all the math. I'm like, this is great. Oh my gosh. Because, you're struggling to build your business, right? And Dennis is like, no, I'm sorry. We now have a new price. I'm sorry. That was an introductory offer, but here we've already quoted this price for other future brokers. And I like to maintain consistency. Well, this broker just kept trying to bring Dennis down, and Dennis was holding he's just like, no, this is the price. We maintain consistency. I'm kicking him under the table. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? So I didn't look at him the whole way home. It was an hour and a half drive from Pittsburgh back to Cleveland. My neck was killing me. I'm looking at the because I couldn't stand him in that moment. By the time we got home, answering machine was on, because back then we didn't have voicemail. And sure enough, the lady who brought us in said, we are so happy you came in. The president of the company would like to go ahead and guarantee you the price that you quoted, the 100 people, because he wants you to teach those negotiation skills to our agents, because you demonstrated to us you believe in yourselves and what you're going to be teaching our agents. And that was I think I was probably 25 years old. That was a real.
You learned that from
Yes.
the standing point of, hey, that's a challenge that I would have knelt. I would have given up. I would have said, wow, you got to look at the business long term versus in the number and quantity. But he was steadfast on the price. I love that. That's great. I think that is definitely a learning curve for a lot of us, because a lot of times we're challenged with even salaries or, just negotiating our commissions. It's very difficult for a lot of real estate agents when everyone else around them is not necessarily doing the same. But your value is where it comes in. And I think you need to stick to your guns and actually pursue what is the right thing to do.
Thank you. Okay, good.
It's really great. Teresa, how about anyone else?
I never, myself, my experience, I never felt the imposter syndrome. And maybe if I did, maybe I didn't pay attention.
I think that's great, because I can honestly say for me, I have felt that many times. Like, oh my God, what if they find out I really can't do this? Or, and I don't know if it's the Latina in me working in, because Teresa, like you were saying, my father was a dominant figure in my house. My mother was really, she was a stay-at-home mother. She was amazing, but she died when I was 18. So I didn't have her strength, like to pursue her to keep me going. But I always felt like, oh gosh, I need to work harder because, I don't really necessarily, have all the skills or talent that my colleagues, and I'm questioning myself. So I think it does happen to a lot of us. And it's great to, to say it's okay if you do, because it happens to all of us. One of the things that I think is really important to understand about, sometimes we have, mistakes that we make or that we see other people make within our industry. And what advice would you give others about making sure that they avoid, or that that's a mistake that you want to make sure that they avoid, and how to can you help them rectify it? Or just I have somebody, and I'll tell you, I'm mentoring right now, and I'm working with her, and I'm seeing a mistake that I think needs to be rectified. But how do you delicately provide them with the information to help them without offending, or without, how does anybody want to tell me what they do? Cathy, how about you?
Yeah, I think for me, open, honest communication is the only way to do it. So I have found the older I get, I'm more comfortable with that. I think when I was younger, I was more hesitant, but I think in our culture and our environment here at Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices Carolinas, we have open dialogue. We're able to really explore other people's thoughts and feelings, but then we also can come together as a team to realize, what our mission is and to accomplish our goals. But I think just being honest and open and being a good listener is part of that, to really get into the details of what the issue is and then how to overcome it as a team.
I think that's great. Teresa, how about you?
So that's excellent, Cathy. I agree with you 100% with what Cathy said. And what I tell a lot of agents now, is you've got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Take yourself out of your comfort zone. Because if you're like really comfortable, that means you're not growing. That means that you're not expanding your business. So that's one of the things we always say is just get comfortable being uncomfortable, because we don't like to push ourselves sometimes. But when you do, where's the downside, right?
Right.
You know what's out there to you allow yourself.
Alma, I like that, Teresa. And that is really the way you learn. In any kind of situation, it's uncomfortable. I mean, if you know everything, then you're not going to learn, right? And if you're uncomfortable and being told, sometimes it's hard to take advice, or sometimes it's hard to take, you should do that, but then the more you think about it, you realize it's going to make me better. They're not going to tell me something unless it's going to, try to help me make myself better. So I totally agree with that. How about you, Alma?
Well, I agree with Cathy. I think, my advice is to listen attentively to all their client needs, and sometimes they don't follow up proactively. So I think that's also important to get all the information on the details of the necessary information of the property, to know your product or know what you are offering, and to be extremely prepared and search all your client needs.
Perfect. Now, one thing I always like to hear is about accomplishments, because I think it's really important to know you a little better. So tell me, what personal accomplishment have you been the proudest of, or something that you've done that you thought, wow, I made it, or I did this? Cathy, how about you?
So, well, personally, I'll start with that, just raising our 18-year-old daughter who's getting ready to leave the nest. So that has been a big personal accomplishment. I'm super proud of all that she has accomplished and overcome in her life so far. So I look forward to seeing where she goes. Most recently, professionally, that's something that I'm super proud of here, is that we started a mentorship program with an HBCU here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And it's been an awesome program that we are really proud of, that we hope to expand across our state. But it is a 6-week session that is our CEO, Tommy Camp, is mentoring students. We're on our 4th semester that we just started in January. So we have 3 students that participate every semester. And it's been really successful. And I think we get just as much out of it as they get from us, which is really cool. So I'm super proud of that accomplishment. I think it was just an idea that we had, and they took a chance on us by letting us in and mentoring their students. And it's just been really rewarding.
And Cathy, are the students interested in pursuing, or perhaps, the real estate as a career option? Is that, or is it just anyone?
Some are, some are interested in that. So there's an application process. They have to apply, and then they're selected. And so we have people that are interested in finance. We have people that are interested in real estate sales. It really runs the gamut. It doesn't have to be real estate related. And so Tommy really spends that 6-week period focusing on leadership and their strengths and learning about their strengths. We do Strengths Finder 2.0 with them so they can see what their top 5 strengths are. We focus on several different book studies with them. And honestly, just learning about being in a business, any business. We invite them into our company. So they come actually to our facility to meet, which they love. And they're also invited to our events that we have. They just came to our awards event in February. So that we also have given them opportunities to, come in and participate in other, aspects of the business. They can learn anything. So we, Maria Kazakos, our Senior VP of Sales, is meeting one-on-one with one of them. One of them was interested in being a controller. Our legal person, Brian Simpson, who is Senior VP, is meeting with one of our students who's interested in becoming an attorney. So it's been great.
That's great. I love that. And also, for those who don't know, it's a historic Black colleges and universities that you are working with. And I think that's an amazing example of how you can lead and also help others come up the pipeline that might be able to come back into your company that you can hire later on. I think that's really exciting.
In addition, we did a home buyer workshop for the university as well. So building financial wealth through home ownership. So we hope to expand that program as well.
Oh, I love that. What a great accomplishment. I totally agree with you. Teresa, how about you?
So, Cathy, that is really impressive what you guys
It is
honestly,
amazing.
Thank you.
Personally, for me, just being very, very much involved with my grandchildren and my nieces. Nieces, I'm like their second mom, I'm their nana. So that to me, like we were raised again, family is just so important because it's just really at the end of the day, it's what it's really all about. Professionally, we're so excited because Berkshire Hathaway Home Services is now using our residential remodeling course and calling it the Forever Agent Remodeling Advisor. So again, it just piggybacks off of what we were talking about earlier, just really being out there, being prepared to demonstrate your value. Because people ask me all the time, what is the biggest difference from when you got your license when you were 19 versus today? Never mind the internet, HGTV and all that stuff. But it's really about you need to demonstrate your value. Because when you build value, then you're going to build loyalty. Because if you don't have that, you're not going to get the business. So that professionally is what we're super, super excited about. Christy Budnick, Gino Blafari, Alan Dalton, Chris Sears, they have been so involved in making this really a big splash. So we're so excited.
Well, that's a huge part of the business too. And I think it's going to be a great way to really activate our real estate agents, communities, and also understand, because sometimes a homeowner will overdo their home to the point where it doesn't make sense when they try to go sell it because you can't get that money back. So what makes the best sense to do when you go into a home that will bring back the biggest return on investment, but also increase your quality of life while you're at that home? So I love that. And then Alma, how about you professionally? What has been or personally your biggest accomplishment?
Well, my biggest personal accomplishment is I am a mother of 8 years child. His name is Ian. So I am very proud of that. And well, my professional accomplishment is to be a member and broker of this successful international real estate company, Berkshire Hathaway. I am very proud of that.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. That's great, right? And I couldn't agree with you more. So as we wrap up, I know we're running, can you believe it? Well, I'm almost running out of time. You know, I always like to hear about any professional courses, books that you perhaps have taken and really kind of helped you develop, or that you recommend. And of course, Cathy, it sounds to me like y'all have a lot of different books that you recommend individuals, but what have you done or taken that you thought this is really pretty cool and I definitely want to share it with our group today?
We are, thank you. We are a ninja selling company. We started ninja selling, probably in 2015. And so if you're not familiar with it and you want more information, certainly reach out to me. So I'm a big proponent of that. Tommy will tell you that when he first started talking to me about it, it's like, I don't know, because we've been down that road where we've had all these training programs. I mean, y'all know, y'all have all been around the same length of time as me. We've had, you name it, we've had it. And so we really doubled down and chose that one. And I'm so thankful because it is not just a training program. It's life-changing, both personally and professionally, if you follow the path. And so I think it's just made us a better organization, and it's also made our people better. We know why we're here every day. We have a focus. We're laser focused on what we do for our agents and our staff, but also just outside of work. It also creates what's important and remembering what's important every day with our families and professionally. So I'm just forever grateful for Ninja Selling. If you haven't read the book, you can get Larry Kendall's book. And if, you know, like I said, if you want to learn more about the program, I'm happy to discuss it with anybody. That's awesome.
Many of our companies are part of the home services companies of umbrellas are really are very dedicated to to that training as well.
Yes, I've asked for a referral fee, Teresa, because I've sent a million people. So
You should, Kathy. You definitely should. Okay.
You should, right?
walking commercial. Yes.
That's right. That's right. How about you, Alma?
Well, this is a book that I recommend you. Is Power of Questions
Okay.
by Andrew Sobel and Gerald Panas. This book is special to me because it teaches you about building relationships and winning new business and influencing others.
Oh, wow. I've not heard of that book. It's called The Power of Questions.
The Power of Questions, yes.
Oh, wow. You know, and that's one thing that I will tell you, Gino always, you know, starts his interview. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the questions he does, the interview process. It's not interview, it's interview, it's learning about people and the power that that has, because through questions, we really get to know people a little bit deeper. So I think that's a great read. I can't wait to get that book. Teresa, that's a new one for me. How about you, Teresa?
Well, mine's not business, but I've read so many business books and courses and all that. But when we lost our son 7 years ago, and it's the hardest hit you're ever going to anticipate in life. And I found a book called Embraced by the Light. And what it did is it just really helped me cope, helped us all cope with it, that, you know, we don't have control. Everybody has their own destiny, and just makes you feel like there is they're around you and there's a better place. But that was so inspiring for me at that time in my life. And I always get that book for anybody who's ever lost a loved one and is just dealing with that, because we all are faced with that at some point of our life. So
wow, that's going to make me cry. Embraced by the Light. I'll have to see that one, Teresa. All right. Two more questions. So advice. What advice, best advice, you know, either that someone gave you that you felt, gosh, it really has taken me through a lot. Or what advice would you give someone else, you know, or even your younger self? And I'll start with you, Alma.
Well, the advice I wish someone had given me is to always trust in my knowledge, in my skills, in my intuition, in my integrity, which I still do to this day.
You get your gut instinct. I like that, because sometimes we question our guts. We question that instinct that we have and our own knowledge, you know, and I think that's very brilliant. I really like that. Cathy, how about you?
You know, my dad always told me, you may not be the smartest person in the room, but you can always outwork them. And so work ethic was instilled to me. We had to learn how to earn our own money by the age of 12. So that was not always fun as a kid, but now I appreciate it, because that's truly what has made the difference in my life, I think, is just putting in the work always. And whatever you do, whether that's here or volunteering or whatever you're working on.
Oh my goodness. You know, I think that's a great, you know, true advice. You know, one of my favorite movies is Rudy, and it was, you know, I think it was Coach Lou Holtz that said, hard work beats talent every day. You know, so it really is, you know, the work that you do that really makes a difference, and it beats anything, because that's really truly your value. And Teresa, how about you?
I'm going to piggyback right off of Cathy, because my parents said the same thing. Always be proud of whenever you turn around, anything you've ever done, anyone you've spoken with, be proud of what you've done. Take pride in what you do, because that's what it's all about. I mean, people want to just be around you when you just are setting off that positive vibe and just being, which means if you're taking pride, that means you're doing the right thing. You're not going to sell something to somebody that you know is not right for them. So you're always going to be true to not only yourself, but true to who you're working with as well. That's what I've always liked to. And that's what I told my young self. I would have told my young self, meet Teresa Smith at a young age so that you could be hanging here with these fabulous women today on International Women's Day. That's what I would have told my young self.
Oh,
Okay?
I love that. Oh,
More time with you, Teresa. No, you.
Oh, you're wonderful. Well, last question that we go through as we sign off. I'm all about quotes. I love quotes. They inspire me. They make an impact. I don't know why I'm not a big reader. I don't love reading, but for some reason, something quick or easy has always captured my attention. And so, that's why I like the isms that I always hear from a lot of people. It just really makes an impact. And so I will start with you, Alma. What is your favorite quote, something that resonates with you that you can share with our audience as we sign off today?
Yes, of course. Successful people do what unsuccessful people aren't willing to do. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. Jim Rohn.
Oh, that is absolutely spot on. And I haven't seen that one. I think that's a great quote. Teresa, how about you?
I have this hanging in our house. It's life is not measured by the number of breaths we take, but by the moments that take our breath away. I just always love that one. And I love yours too, Alma. That's excellent.
Thank you,
That's
Teresa.
Great. It is absolutely true. It is the breaths that take us away that really make the biggest impact in our lives. Cathy?
So mine is from Maya Angelou, which I know we talked about earlier. So Maya, for those of you that don't know, lived in Winston-Salem, which is where I live. She lived here, worked here, and passed away here. So she's always a favorite. But you may not control the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them.
Oh, that is very, very touching. And I did not realize that she was from your area. That's really.
She wasn't from there, but she lived here a long time and was a big part of our community. So,
is there a house that is there like a tour where some people have
she passed away and it was sold.
Oh, I wondered because I know here in Atlanta, you've got MLK Home, and you can go on Sweet Auburn Drive and see that. She is an inspiration to me, Maya Angelou, and I found this quote. And I thought it was so insightful. And Teresa, I'm going to have you share a story because I told y'all the quote before. But each time a woman stands up for herself without knowing it, possibly without claiming it, she stands up for all women. And as we celebrate Women's History Month, I thought that was such an insightful quote by Maya Angelou. And you shared this with us, Teresa, while we were talking in advance. And I thought it was really insightful just about you at the age that you were at, how you could even think about this and how you stood up. So just really quickly share with our audience what you told us.
Yeah, I was a freshman in high school and I was a cheerleader for one day. I had my cheerleading outfit on. I was talking to, cliques there, or you've got your jocks and your burnouts, all these different cliques back then. And I'm talking to everybody like I always did. And the cheerleading coach calls me into her office. I said, "Hey, what's going on?" She says, "Hey, listen, you need to, when you're wearing that cheerleading outfit, you need to maintain a certain status. You can't just be talking to everybody." And I looked at her, I said, "Are you kidding me right now?" I said, "You're supposed to be the adult, my mentor, and you're going to sit down and tell me who I can or cannot talk with." I said, "My parents are from other countries. We were taught never be racist. Don't look at color, nothing like that. Don't ever feel like you're better than anybody." And I looked at her, I said, "You should be ashamed of yourself." I said, "If this is what it means to be a cheerleader, I'm out." I dropped off my cheerleading outfit that day. And you know what? I looked back, I don't know, I was probably in my 30s. And I looked back, I said, "I can't believe I did that at that age." I was really proud of myself. So I give kudos to my parents that instilled that belief in us that you've got to treat people right, no matter who they are, what they are, or anything like that, right?
Kindness matters. That's
Kindness
what we all have to have in this world today, is being kind and considerate to everyone. And what an example, Teresa, that you are now and then. And I really appreciate each one of you because you inspire me. And I really am so happy that we were able to celebrate Women's History Month and International Women's Day today together. I found this other quote that I'm going to end with. Leadership is lifting up person's vision to high heights, the raising of a person's performance to a higher standard, and the building of a personality beyond its normal limitations. And that's by Peter Drucker. And I think that each one of you exemplifies that. in what you do every day and the way you build your business, the way you build others, and how you're passionate about what you do. And so I want to thank you for joining me on this very special day, and for our audience for participating. I really, really am excited about what we do on this show and how we get to know each other better. As I sign off, I just want to thank you for joining us. Remember that we also have the podcast that follows this show, and you can join the podcast on Apple, on Spotify, wherever you listen. And you can also go to Women Who Lead Podcasts. Isn't that easy? womenwholeadpodcast.com to get to join on to the series, as well as you can follow us on Facebook, and the recorded sessions are there as well. So our next show is going to be next month, same time. Make sure that you join us. That's on April 12th. And thank you for watching the show. And remember, when you help another woman rise, we all shine, every one of us. And that's how we make an impact. So let's build each other up and shine brighter than the sun. See you all soon. Have a great month, everyone. Bye-bye.